Guys, so in this video, right, we're gonna interview Robert, right, who is absolutely crushing it right now, generating a lot of money in his online coaching business. Rob has been working with me for what, like under 5 months or 4 months?
I think about 4 months.
My God, time's flying by so quick, bro. 4 months, bro. My God, I remember when you were still getting people off pain medication. That's an inside joke. We'll get into it right now with everyone. Everyone's like, "What the hell are you talking about?" So, in about 30 days, Rob has was just shy under 30,000 in new business USD. Rob actually has only been really a full-time online coach. Well, not even full-time. He's doing this part-time right now. For like not even what 4 months he's in, and he's just crushing it right now. And last month he hit about, I believe last month, what'd you hit?
It's 27,000.
Yeah. So, and then the month before that, like estimate.
The month before that was 10.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
you just compounding over time. Calls are getting booked. So in this video, I'm just gonna ask Rob a question in my hopes that whoever's watching this, like you just take some of this stuff and you just run it. Like, if you want to take all of it, cool. But yeah, I just want just to show everyone it is possible, even doing this, which is pretty crazy part time with your full time thing. So Rob, just go ahead and let the people know who you are, who you help, and yeah, we'll start with that.
Yeah, so like AJ said, I'm Robbie. I am a full-time firefighter paramedic, and I run a coaching business for firefighters to get into firefighter shape. And that's my niche. I work with firefighters. Health and fitness is more of a detriment to that population than like most people realize. It's a big struggle in that community. When you quantify like the long nights, the long shifts, and the eating habits and the culture that are present in the fire service. So what I'm doing is trying to shore up some of those differences and help firefighters get into the shape that like we should be to do the kind of job and what's demanded of us.
Amazing, amazing. Love that. Love that. And like question I want to ask is like, what made you want to start helping firefighters? Like what was the deciding factor to just be like, all right, cool, like this is where my niche is? Because a lot of coaches they struggle with who they're gonna help, right?
Mm.
And they always like struggle with that. So what I want to know is what was your thought process? If you can take us back to a couple months ago to when you're like, okay, I'm gonna ride with this. This is gonna be my offer.
Yeah, no, it there was a lot of trial and error, right, with finding this group, but it didn't have to be that way because I would say that I already knew like I'm a firefighter. I work with firefighters. I talk to firefighters. Like, it's like all that I was, but it was kind of there was a resistance there, right? And I think I see this a lot, and I can't speak with all the experience that I have because again, I've only been doing this for 4 months. But what I do see people doing and what I did was like you when you're a coach and you genuinely want to help people, you want to help like everybody. And in the process of doing that, like you effectively end up helping no one.
Yeah.
And, I guess the conclusion I came to was when I hit that crossroads, because people would come and firefighters, before I even realized this was happening, firefighters would come to me and ask me questions about health and fitness and like how they could do it still being a firefighter. And that process was going on in the background over and over and over and over again. And I was just pushing it back and ignoring it. And it's like, well, yeah, I can solve their problems because I know them personally, but like that's not who I'm going to work with. But when you lay it out on paper, you're like, who are all the people that I have currently helped, even though I have no clients? It was all firefighters. It was all solutions based towards firefighters, how to do this as a firefighter, how to make sure that like with the specific problems that we have. And the when you hit that crossroads when you're deciding, the conclusion that I came to was, all right, well, I'm not really helping anybody by trying to talk to everyone.
Yeah.
So I can, even though I have that desire, I can continue trying to talk to everyone and I'm going to help everybody and still help no one. Or I can decide, hey, this is a specific group that I understand. I understand their pain. I understand like what the solution needs to be. And I can communicate to them in a way to highlight a solution that is at least helping more people than I was before because nobody felt like I was talking to them.
Love that. Love that. And yeah, I agree with you 1000%. And one thing that I really want to zone in and I want to ask you is so a lot of times with coaches is that they struggle with their offer, like I mentioned in the beginning, right? They just either they're trying to serve everybody, they're not specific enough, the offer sucks, whatever it is, right? And a lot of times I tell coaches is that your first offer that you come up with, you're probably going to end up changing it multiple times or just once. Very rare do I see a coach come on in and their offer is the one that they stick with for months or years. They always end up changing. And changing it comes from like even just a word, right? Because you can just if you go, I help busy men lose 30 pounds, but you take out the word busy, now you're hitting a different demographic. So like for you, right? What I wanted to like kind of have you take people through that are struggling with like crafting their offer is I know obviously based off working with you, you went through count a few a few offers, right? So
Yeah.
like what was your thought process like as you were like creating content for a specific offer and you're just like, yo, this isn't working. Let me go back to the drawing board. Like take us through that thought process. I feel like it'll be very helpful for a lot of people that are struggling with their offer.
Yeah. And just to reiterate AJ's point here, to reiterate your point, uh, I probably went through like four, five, six iterations of this before like landing, with something that felt aligned.
Oh.
Definitely not on the first try. It wasn't a knock out of the park. There was a lot of failure, a lot of like grinding in silence and like delayed gratification. The difference that I see though, and what I think the concept here that like if you want to land on the offer that's going to be the thing, first of all, you're going to know very quickly if that's the offer. And if you can take that and reverse engineer it, I went through all these offers, like the five or six, but that didn't take very long. Like there was a lot of offers, but it didn't take very long. You know what I
Mm,
mean? Each offer was like I didn't need that much proof to see like this is landing, and I didn't need that. Just there's a concept here of like, hey, I'm not talking like one post. I'm talking about like how did I feel about the offer? How aligned did it feel? How much resistance did I feel? And were people engaging with it? Was it connecting, with anyone, right? At all. And the time frame that I think people think they need to see to do that. Like I see some people like try to make something work for a year before they decide to switch, right? They're just locked in. They're like, no, I can do it. Like, how much time do you need to feel alignment, to feel that intuition that like, no, this is it. And more than that, like when you see it, at least in my experience, the second I made that shift, everything changed, right?
mm,
Not just with how I felt about it, but the response that I saw in my audience, the way it started growing, the conversations I started having, right? That is the indicator that this is moving in the right direction. I did not spend months or years trying to make an offer work that wasn't aligned. Like it was a very quick pivot. And like I said, with like five or six, I'm not exaggerating because AJ did it with me. And
mm.
it was like bam, 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 bam. Like probably those five or six in the course of 5 or 6 weeks, right? As
Amazing.
I sat there and polished and figured it out and pivoted, like to me, that's okay. Can you take that too far? Probably. Like sometimes you need a little bit more proof of concept to see if you're just getting
Yeah.
started, you have no audience. Like, okay, you need time to build your audience. But that authenticity that comes from being aligned with your offer and actually serving a demographic that you truly understand, you'll know it when you feel it. And more than that, you will have the proof in the conversations that will start to happen around those topics when you actually start speaking to people, right?
Mm.
Does that make sense?
Yeah, no, that makes total sense. And like, it's just like it's constant iteration sometimes too. Like I've seen coaches like come on in and like Robbie, like I use him for example a lot too, where it's just like, has a lot of success, but he's actually went through so many iterations. Like for me, when people ask me like, what do I think a coach, like how do I determine how successful a coach is going to be? I always look at two major components. I look at how quick they take action and how much they take action. Like those are the main things, right? Because if you take action quick, you're just like immediately ahead of a lot of people. Then you take a lot of action, you've already failed multiple times. So by the time someone's already got started, you already know how to do what they're doing and 10 times better. So like what I want to ask you is like, what was your biggest shift that you feel like you had when you joined the program? Like what was that? It could be mental, like, or just in general, like what do you feel what was the thing that like clicked?
Yeah, absolutely. Two major components, and one came further down the line. The first one was the acceptance of the identity in the first place, letting
Mm,
go this concept of like, I'm going to speak to everyone. This program is for everyone. This is designed to be, and it could, I still believe that anyone could benefit from my program, but nobody is going to be attracted to it unless they feel like it's speaking to them. So, first of all, when I started with you, I'm sure you remember, you had to convince me that I was even a fitness coach to begin with. Like that identity acceptance, like the and that informed on how I was making content, that informed
Yeah.
on how I presented myself, that informed on so many things. There was an acceptance of that identity, right?
Yeah.
That was a major clicking point. And then making content around the pain points of those people. Now there was like another transition here that happened in the last couple of months being in this program, which was, to your credit, the idea of making content that starts conversations instead of content that is for the sake of likes and views. And you and I both know that throughout the course of my content creation journey, I did fall into that category of chasing views, of chasing likes, of chasing, I had a couple of videos go viral, but ask me how many clients that translated into. I have videos and content out there that are 10 times or 10 only 10% of the views I got with my viral videos that booked me 20 calls
Yep.
because the content, the call to action, the whole purpose of it was to start a conversation, not to spread it and go viral and get people to share it because it was funny or because and there's like some room for humor, right? But like the overwhelming percentage of what I put out now is the same thing every day packaged in a different format, which is a call to action that is about the problems that we have and the solutions that I can provide.
Yep.
And more than that, hey, here's how you can get a hold of me if you want to have a conversation about it. All
Yeah.
of my organic content looks like that. And to be honest, like I'm like holding off more on ads than I should because I have so much lead volume now that like to give myself more until I build out a team would be kind of reckless. Like I'm already struggling to keep up with the volume of lead flow. So like people like to, bash organic content. My personal experience is that like if you do it like you were talking about every single day, like the amount of action that you take, the volume, and how quickly you decide to pivot and learn from the previous piece of content that you put out, and you keep refining what works and identify, okay, these components of this content like translated to this result. How can I hyper focus on those things and then recreate it? Then you will have, and then obviously, like as you grow your team, the best combination would be organic and ads, right?
Yeah.
When you have the ability to handle the volume, right? So that's
Yeah.
like the next step. But yeah, to answer your question, I know that was long-winded.
It's
The
fine.
biggest lesson, even after I had had I had had clients already in the door. It's like, oh my God, look, like this vision, like, oh, I had a video hit 500,000 views. It's like, cool. Like, how many clients did you get? How many people did you help with that? You know?
Uh,
And what that was a hard pill to swallow, man, because I had already been doing this
yeah.
a couple months into that point. It was like, look, like that's my highlighted reel. Look, it did so well. Like by what metric?
Yeah.
By views? By likes? It's not the same thing. That was a hard pill to swallow. I had to like, you never called me out specifically on it, but when you posted that content, I was like, oh God, I did that. I'm doing that, and that changed everything.
Yeah.
Way more lead flow when I accepted that. But sometimes the person you need to face is the person in the mirror. Like
Mm.
people
Yeah.
tell you, and then it's like the people that understand will be like, yeah, I mean, how many clients? All my friends, everybody else, like, look, you're doing so well. Look at these videos, blew up. And they think that translates to your business success, and it doesn't.
Yep.
Sorry.
What? No, you're. I love this. I love this
Yeah.
because it's. They need to hear it because a lot of coaches, even me too, a couple years before too, I fell in that trap too, where it's like I wanted likes and I wanted shares, right? And then I'm just like, that's not translating to anything. I've seen coaches with so many followers, but they're just not making nearly what you're making right now. And it's like I tell coaches all the time, it's like you got to ask yourself, are you trying to be an influencer or are you trying to be a business owner? Like those are two completely different things because there's a lot of things I can do for attention, right? And like I can just be shaking my butt on camera and I'm gonna be getting views, right? It will happen. But unless the end goal is to do like maybe like an OnlyFans or something like that, then that's a whole different thing. But likes don't translate to views. I'm sorry, likes don't translate to clients all the time. It just doesn't, right? Like what Rob is doing is like just for context, everyone just being ultra specific on who he's trying to help. And he's really not reinventing the wheel. Like it's just being ultra specific, calling out your target market all the time, right? It's like Rob mentioned that a post that I created. I don't know what post he was talking about. It probably was like a me saying like not to views don't translate to dollars, right? But those are called pain points, right? It's like it made Rob feel like I was talking to him without even saying his name. Like I wasn't talking to Rob, I was just talking in general. Rob does the same thing with his content. Like he has a bunch of firefighters following him. So if he's making content saying, "Hey, are you overweight?" This and that, like people are gonna watch that, right? And they're going to like be like, "Oh shoot, this is me. He's talking to me right now," even though Rob doesn't know who the hell they are until they get on a call, right? So that's the type of thing that you want your content, right, to be. So love that. Absolutely love that. My next question, right, that I really want to ask, right, is so this month you've we're just shy under 30K, right? You were just shy, but this month in at the time of this recording, June 1st, we'll make another video. You'll hit 40K by the end of this month, right? What I want to ask, right? This is your highest grossing month, right? You're gonna continue to keep going. Your metrics of your Instagram is going up. Everything's like everything's crushing. Like literally, if you just keep doing what you're doing, sky's the limit, right? Now it's all just like a patience game, right? You're just kind of like just doing the same thing over and over again. Okay. So I want to break down your about your 20, was it 27, 28K this month?
27, yeah.
Okay, so let's break it down, right? How did it happen?
Uh, yeah, a simple question, not and a simple answer, but it's you want to know the truth, like you don't sugarcoat things. I will not sugarcoat things either, right? My life right now, the season of my life, the season of my business that I am in is the grind. Like it's the complete thing. I made a post about this in the community recently. It's like, it's cool to share the wins, but like I also want to be transparent about all the work that went into translating to this result, which is like I'm a firefighter. I work 24-hour shifts. I do day on, day off, day on, day off, day on, 4 days off. That's 10 days of my month that I really can't work as much on this stuff as I'd like to. So the result is I have to do everything on the in between days, and those are 12 to 14-hour days,
Mm,
right? And the season of my business right now, my next goal is to build a team to help me with some of these things because each individual responsibility is now becoming a full-time job in and of itself,
yep.
right? So like I am starting so many conversations, right? And then leading them through to book an appointment. Then I'm also getting on set appointment and getting on a sales call, which is the sales training is a whole other portion and learning through that and making mistakes and refining that process. And then, then I'm doing the coaching and I'm making content, right? All of these things are happening in the background while also being a full-time firefighter. So I don't want anybody that's listening to this, like, it is possible, but there is sacrifice, right? Is it going to be like that forever? I hope not. But the work that it is right now, the season of my life that I'm in right now, it's the work that happens in the silence. It's cool to talk about the 27 in a month, 4 months into my business, but it didn't happen overnight, and it definitely did not happen without saying no to a lot of other things because this is what I want to be doing more than anything else in the world.
Mm,
So I don't say the 12 or 14 hours that I'm putting in on my off days every day come without gratitude or come with like in a resentful fashion. Like I chose this. This is the life that I chose. This is the path
uh,
that I chose. Like, how badly do I want it? This is a continuing proof that to do it, it's going to require this investment for this part of my life, like the investment of my time and energy. So it's there's nothing magic, right? I guess at the end of the day, what I'm trying to say is like the steps are laid out. It's like start conversations, get on calls, coach your clients, and change their life. Get referrals, I guess, throw in there, right? And continue to make content that speaks to people. Like
yep.
it's five simple steps, but it takes time and energy and sacrifice. What it looks like is literally all day I'm on my phone talking to people.
Yep.
Like all day I'm on the computer selling. All day I'm on the computer coaching. All day I'm on my phone making content, figuring it all out and squeezing it in.
Yep.
So the process, like I'm not trying to like shortchange anybody, but there is no secret. It's just like this concept I grew up with, which like being in this program has taught me how to do the basics. And that sounds like not fluffy and not fancy, but I grew up in martial arts and I grew up with an expression. An advanced technique is nothing but a basic technique that has been mastered.
Yep.
And if you just spend time mastering your basics, like the best fighters in the world, the best firefighters in the world, They don't do any of the fancies. They don't do these fancy, crazy techniques. They get really good at the basic foundations that make you good at those things. And that's what I'm spending time working on right now. Is that's
Mm,
it. There's no fluff. There's no secret. It's just like put in your time and keep getting good at the five things that move the needle.
love that. But yeah, and it's like, okay, no, honestly, even said it amazing, man. It's just like that's how it is, right? A lot of coaches they want to skip that grind. They want to skip that, especially when you're at that 0 to 10K mark. As you like, as now you're getting to the point now where you're gonna hire a setter, you're gonna hire your own closer, right? Now you're gonna kind of just okay, cool. Like you have a system in place to like, all right, my target audience, they like this type of content. Now I can batch recorded it. And then now you learn how to systemize your stuff. But a lot of coaches, like from that 0 to 10K mark, is that they don't want to embrace that, right? Your month right now, in my opinion, it's just compounded over all the work that you did when you started, right? Because all those people that were seeing your content are now like building like they're getting to know you, like you, and trust you, right? Your content's naturally getting better, your VSL is getting better, everything got better. So it's like naturally like it's just something like it was like a big dam that was cracking over time, and then this month it just boom, everything happened. But that was all work that you had already put in, right? I've told people in the quantum community as well with Dan is like Dan comes across as very like go happy chill guy dude and everything, right? Which he is, right? But people forget that he was 500K in debt. People forget that he had to go through the hustle to get out of that. So where he's at right now, people look at that and people are gonna look at you, right? And be like, I want to hit 27K a month. Cool, but they don't look at the process that took you to get there. They just look at the outcome, right? So if you're watching this right now, right? And you're struggling getting leads, you're struggling getting clients, it's like you got to embrace that grind. I'm sorry. I'm like 0 to 10K, I just call it a dog fight. You're just like, you're changing things, you're messaging people, you're getting left on red, you're getting blocked. Like, people are, like, it's just, you're doing a whole bunch of different things, right? I got blocked the other day off of sending a new outreach thing, right? It just happens. It happens, right? So amazing. I absolutely love that, right? What do you feel like if you could say it in one thing, what do you feel helped you the most in this program?
Hmm. I mean, there's so many things. It's really hard to choose any one thing that's moved it, but I would have to lean back on, because the giant leap that happened, it's like, oh, why am I not making as many sales? It really does come back to the component of accepting one, like there's a self-reflection here too, like a continual process of refining and learning about yourself and like being okay with like a shortcoming. You're like, sometimes it takes time to realize that shortcoming. Like, and what an interesting process, because if you go and talk to people that are new to this or that aren't in coaching or business at all, you say like, now at this point with this frame of mind, I would consider like focusing on content that was going to go viral was like, now with my mindset is like that was a failure, right? Or it was a lesson, right? Like it took that to realize like, okay, where am I actually at the end of that video? So no new clients, right?
Yeah.
That process, like being helped to understand that. And also like, I don't know, letting your pride and ego take a back seat. Because like I said earlier, like that was a hard pill to swallow because I did a lot of work, right? Like I was holding on to all the work that I did because being productive and getting results are not the same thing as being busy, which I've
Mm,
struggled with for a long time. Like I'm very good at keeping myself busy. I've recently changed the narrative and because of this program, figured out what the difference is between being productive and being busy. And
yeah.
there is a distinction there. Like all the hours I put into that viral content that at the end of the day didn't translate to anything, I had to come to terms with that and I was able to because of like the encouragement, because of the tutelage, because of the concepts and the principles that are taught here. And at the end of the day, what you provide is all of the tools necessary to learn principles. It's the same thing that I provide in my program. I tell this to my clients. Like my job isn't really to teach you the tools. It is to teach you how to use the tools, but the real goal is higher than that. It's to teach you how to learn principles that you can broadly apply to every area of your life, firefighting or not, like across the board, like these things play, and it's kind of the same thing in business, right? Like it's a reflection of you, right? So if you're not going to be willing to address your own shortcomings. Like it's so weird to come on here and be like, I made a viral video and I realized it was a shortcoming. Like for most people, they're like, what? Like,
Yeah.
no, it is like it was because it wasn't in alignment with what my goals were, right? If your goal is to make viral content and be an influencer, then great, you're doing a great job. But if your goal is to take on clients and change people's lives and make a lot more money, then maybe that those things aren't congruent. And people think when they come in, I thought this, that those things are in alignment with each other. Like if you're going viral, if you're making content like that, then
Uh,
it's the same thing. But it's not. And that was a really hard lesson to learn. And I don't think I would have learned it if I wasn't a part of this. I
uh,
definitely wouldn't.
yeah.
I would
Yeah,
still
man.
be chasing that. I probably wouldn't even be a fitness like a fitness coach. I don't know what I'd be, you know?
Yeah, I remember that. I remember having to tell you you're a fitness coach, and just for context, I we use school as a platform, right? That's where I met Robbie, and I've met a lot of people that like, for example, in the health and fitness space, that I'm like, oh, so you're a fitness coach, you're a health coach. No, I'm not. I'm like, okay, are you giving them meal plans? Are you trying to help them what to eat? Yeah, yeah, I'm helping them. Are you giving them workouts? Yeah, you're okay. You're a fitness coach. You're a health coach, whatever it is you want to call it, right? So I absolutely love what you said, right? Because it's all true, right? It really, really is. Like I tell people a lot too. It's like if you're looking to go viral, I'm not the one for you. If you're looking to go viral, dance not the one for you, right? We're here to we'll show you how to build a business. Like that's what we're gonna show you online, completely online, right? So like one of my last questions to you is like, what would you say to a coach right now who's stuck with a couple clients? Let's just say 3K a month, maybe a little below. Like it kind of we'll call it like an endless loop, right? What would you say they need to focus on the most, and like what encouragement would you give them?
I would give them a couple different things. First, I want to reiterate what I said earlier, which is there's no fancy tips or tricks. It's like a refinement of the basics. Like start conversations, get on calls, coach your clients, get some referrals, and make content that starts the whole process over again, right? And then continue refining each of those points like over and over and over and over and over and over again, you know. Uh, so like learn the lessons and then keep focusing on the basics because those things are going to drive the needle more than anything. And beyond that, like be okay with taking calculated risks
Mm,
because I see a lot of people that like, they don't want to take that first leap. And like that's driven by fear. It's driven by scarcity. And like you'll never get anywhere without being okay with like accepting some of the risk. And like what is calculated risk? Signing on with a coach to help you do it when you clearly don't know what you're doing. It took me a year and a half, 2 years to realize that like, okay, I have all the drive, all the desire, but I don't know what I'm doing. Again, we're back to this concept, accept your shortcomings and then take plans to rectify them. Like signing on with you was a calculated risk that like has paid dividends
mm,
like that I can't even explain. Right. And now not only that, like for life, I have a skill set that I'm building that is going to be transferable. Even let's say this doesn't work out. Like I have skills I would never have had otherwise
yep.
that are repeatable like skills and knowledge and experience that like you can only get by doing it. And I guess like the trap that I fell into because like I didn't really take my first client until 4 months ago, but I was working on this for years before that and doing what I thought was the right thing. And it might have been at some point, but this idea of doing the right thing at the wrong time, you know, and the realization that I had was like I was logically procrastinating why I was avoiding the things that I should have been doing. So I would do things for the sake of the thing that I wanted to do and get better at. I would do everything to get better at that thing, except for that thing itself. And that is the only thing that is going to get you better. If you want to get good at something, then, excuse me, practice doing that thing. Oh, I want to get better at sales. You better start practicing. You better get some reps. You better flex that muscle. Oh, I need to get better at booking appointments. Like, okay, you better start trying. like,
Yep.
like nothing else is going to teach you that. All the instruction in the world will not amount to like you actually doing the thing. And the to summarize it in one sentence, it's this idea that imperfect action will always beat perfect preparation. I spent 2 years preparing just to figure out that all the lessons I needed to learn were in the actual act itself, in the
Mm,
experience, in the action. That's the only thing that matters. because you can figure it out and fix it and polish it as you go. But otherwise, you won't be getting that result that you're looking for. You're just putting in mental reps, which don't translate the same.
Yep, I agree with you. Everything you said, 1000%. And it's just like Robbie mentioned this, which is like doing the right thing at the wrong time, right? It's like literally like I tell coaches all the time, like, and I've encountered so many this past year, hundreds and hundreds of coaches that I've been on calls with, and it's just like I hear like, oh, I'm gonna focus on making sure my offer is perfect. I'm gonna make sure that I have my website, I have my landing page. I'm like, literally, the only thing you need to focus on if you're below 10K a month is content and conversations. That's it. That's literally all. It's all a numbers game, right? Like you just pumped out so much volume, and then afterwards, when you get past 10K, the game changes. What got you to 10K won't get you to, well, it may get you to 20, 30K, but now it's like you got the game changes. Like, for example, Robbie he's have to hire a setter. He's gonna have to hire a closer, right? He's gonna have to, build a system, batch record his content. Like he's gonna develop systems now. Now it's not so much about the hustle, bro, right? It's like, even for me, it's like what got me to 10K is not getting me to 30, 40, 50K. It's different, right? So like, yeah, doing the right thing at the wrong time. Like Robbie literally, like I've been coaching him for a couple months. Like that's what he just did. Like he had an offer. He felt okay. He felt good about, like, all right, cool. I'm gonna rock with this. See what happens. He didn't like let self-doubt get him. He just kept rocking with that. And then the numbers showed him, oh crap, this is actually pretty good. People are hitting me up that are firefighters. Content conversations. He didn't even really focus on anything else like after that. And then once he started building up traction, that's when Robbie started, all right, I got to get a VSI, I got to get a landing page, I got to do all that stuff. But it's like, it's never going to be perfect. So my second to last question is, if you can go back to day one, Robbie, cool. He just, all right. He's like, all right, cool. I'm a firefighter. I'm gonna help firefighters, right? What advice would you give to him? Or actually, better yet, what would you do differently?
I would have all of my content be designed to make it as likely as possible that people would reach out to me so that I didn't have to spend time chasing people. Instead, I spent time attracting people.
Hmm.
Every piece of content would be geared towards attracting my ideal client, speaking to them in the way that like your content spoke to me, right? Even though like I was already signed on with you, it doesn't mean that your content can't still speak to your current clients or your demographic. That's obviously the case. And like, the realization too is that this stuff is built up over time and that like the real work and the real grind happens in the silence and being okay with delayed gratification. Because there's a lot of self-doubt. Like you don't have anything to prove that what you're talking about means anything. But the truth is, like now I'm getting people that have been following me for 3, 4, 5 months that are now ready to have a conversation because of how consistent I've been over the last time that they've been following me. Right. And that work pays dividends later. So people that have been following me, like I got a client who had followed me for 3 or 4 months, responded to an Instagram story that led to a conversation, that led to a call, that led to him signing up in my program off of one Instagram story,
Yep.
or a piece of content that I posted. This happened yesterday. A piece of content that I posted 4 months ago. Somebody followed me and then sent me a message based off of that content that's still floating out there somewhere. When you talk about the grind, like if you just put it out there, people are going to continue to see it. It doesn't feel like it. And it doesn't feel like, oh, I posted content. It doesn't get a lot of likes. It doesn't get a lot of views. But the people that are continually seeing your content like over and over and over again, every piece of content that you post is a reinforcement for who you are and what you do. And some people need a little bit more time. They need
Yep.
more time to trust you. They need more time to reach out.
Yep.
And that next post could be the difference between like you cracking the code for them or not.
Yep.
And you just don't know. But you can post that content. And like I said, that piece of content that like I wouldn't even consider relevant from 4 months ago, that now has led to a call that I have booked tomorrow. And there's no money behind that post either. It was just a post that like I haven't thought twice about since. And somebody saw it 4 months down the line and it's continuing to perform in the way that it needs to and bringing people in the door. Like you just don't know. So
Yeah,
like
I
you're
love it.
constantly building your foundation and adding to it. That's what I would say. It's that like it starts small, but then it will continue to perform over time. It's the best kind of investment that you can make. Like if I understood that, it probably would have changed up the entire approach that I took when I started, you know. but I wouldn't have learned the lessons unless I made those mistakes.
I love that. Love that. I think for me, like this new chapter season, and it's like it's all about systemizing my business, right? And I'm like reading this book right now. It's called Thinking in Systems, right? It's an amazing book, right? But I just would zone in with you, right? Like thinking in that systems to where it's like, okay, like we tell people all the time, like you have people following you right now, and this is a quote that I say a lot. It's like just because they're not liking doesn't mean they're not watching. That's how it is. It's like it's always like that. Like nowadays, people will view your content. Look at YouTube, for example. Like you can have a channel of 3 million. Not 3 million people are gonna like that video. Probably only like 2K, 3K, but doesn't mean they're not watching, right? So like for Robbie, you just made a good point too, where it's like I call it coach purgatory, where it's just like you feel like you're doing everything right. Like you have a good offer, you're doing great content, like you're following everything. Like you're doing everything right, but nothing's popping off yet. Like no one's hitting you up for calls yet. No one's booking calls. And like that's coach purgatory. That's where like coaches have to decide like they either like they're gonna be like, you know what, I'm done with this. Yeah, if they kept posting for another month, that client that's been watching, like Robbie just mentioned, was ready to reach out. And now guess what? You're no longer in business because you gave up. Trust, like that person that Robbie saw, right? There was that video built some level of trust to get them to take the next step. That's thinking in systems, right? Robbie posted a story that he just like, I'm just gonna post a story. It hit like a pain point. It built some level of trust, right? For them to book a call, right? And that's how it works, right? But trust is built not when we think that we've earned it. Trust is built when we actually earn it with your audience. That is how it works. I wish my all my audience right now trusted me 1,000%. Right? I do. I would make a lot of money. Like it's the truth. I'm not gonna. I'm sure to say straight up. But trust is built. I've had people enroll in my programs. Like I had two people this last month that enrolled in my program, and some of them I've known them personally for years. They're a coach. They finally enrolled. That's years. It's like it's just about a waiting game, right? And that's how it is sometimes. So I love that. I love that, right? And my last question to you is: so you just hit, about a little shy under 30K, right? A little shy under 30K, right? What's the next steps after, let's just say in June? What's the next steps, and what's the bigger picture?
Bigger picture for me is changing the story of firefighters in the fire service, right? That's like my deeper why, my like probably what drives me to do these 12 to 14-hour days outside of my shifts is like I'm truly committed to this idea that like the number one killer of firefighters is sudden cardiac arrest.
Mm,
And that health and fitness plays a role, a huge role in those outcomes. So the big picture is to create an organization that is going to change that narrative and that story for the fire service. That's going to make those statistics less, to make it so that more firefighters can go home to their families and actually enjoy their retirements after their 20 or 25 years of service, right? Because this is way too common that people get to the end of their careers and they drop dead, or they're shortly into
mm,
their retirement and they're ripped away from their families
mm,
because of how we spent our time coping with the stress that comes along with the job. And the difference is like I say this with my clients, I say this on my calls, and it's a part of my sales process, but it's also true, which is you could probably do everything absolutely correct in this career, and you're still going to have some years off of your life. But we get to decide if that number is 3 years or 30. And the
love that.
difference is made up in the habits that we employ to cope with the stress that's already present and how we take care of ourselves with our health and our fitness. That's the big picture. So my next goal and the next stage that I'm going to be entering it, that I am in, right? Building a team that is going to be able to help fulfill that vision because I cannot do it alone. Like I'm at the point I'm already like I can't like I can barely take any more clients. I need more help with coaching. I need more I need people to help me answer messages. I need people to help me with sales. So like building out a team, like now it's transitioning from the stuff that I was just telling you about to get to that point to now there's more focus on like, okay, how do I be a strong leader? How do I bring people on that believe in the mission and in the vision? And can they help fulfill the parts of the organization that are going to let me keep doing the things that are driving the needle, which is like after that's established, like continuing to grow the business, continuing to lead the team, continuing to fill out that purpose and point us in the right direction. The next step is like, hey, as much as I am proud of what I've done, there's the next step. You already mentioned like what got you to 0 to 10 and past is not what's going to get you from to a consistent 50 or 100. That's going to require help. That's going to require me to be a leader and to set up systems and to replicate myself where I can and delegate where I need to. That's the next stage I'm entering into right now.
Love that. Love that. Absolutely amazing. And I love seeing your growth, man. It's like I love it, right? It's like a Yoda and Luke Skywalker, right? Like I don't even okay. For those that watched Star Wars when Yoda is like laying in bed and he's just like laying and then Luke is just there and like that's how I felt when I see him, right? Because I remember Rob's earlier days and it's amazing seeing his growth, right? I'm gonna hit you with one more because I think it's actually kind of feel like swayed. One word of response. Um, when you were like before you enrolled and you felt like you were spinning your wheels, at any point did you feel like you were at your lowest point in your business, like mentally wise, where you just like you felt lost?
Yeah, absolutely.
What
100%.
what is you can only do one say one thing, and I'll give you max two sentences and okay. What would you tell that Rob who you can go back? That's at his lowest point, that thinks that I don't know if it's gonna work.
Refine and learn. Do not give up.
I love that. Man, and I'm gonna hit you with one more that I didn't tell you I was gonna do on purpose. I firmly believe, and I've been getting real with myself this past 2 months, that the way you think, it's always a reflection of like your outer, like your adulthood, your adult being is always in defense of your younger being, of when
Mhm.
you were younger, right? It's like for me, it's like I have a need of being seen, and that stems down from when I was a kid. 'Cause I'm a middle child. I always felt like I wasn't good enough. So now, at this new chapter, I can do a lot of stuff, but I still never feel good enough,
Hmm.
right? And I had to get real with myself, right? And it was a little of an emotional journey this past month and a half, just because I had to really unlock that. Until you make the unconscious conscious, it will rule your life, and you will call it fate. That's how it is. So I'm gonna hit you with one more bonus one because I want to feel like it's good. Maybe let's see how it is. So that younger version of Rob, because there was some level of resiliency, because you're a pretty resilient dude, right? Like it wasn't just that you just enrolled and like I gave you the tools, but you have the same tools that a lot of coaches do have access to. But why were you different though? Yeah, you took action, but was there some level of things upbringing, whether it's negative or bad? And I'm not telling you to get into that. But what I am telling you is, if you're comfortable answering, what would you say to that younger Robbie? That younger Robbie could be kid, teenager,
Hmm.
who byproduct of everything that kid went through formed who you are today. What would you tell that Robbie? And I know it hits you a little deep right now, but I think it's important that they know because you're a resilient dude, but there's other variables that go into what makes you you.
I would say two things, and I keep it short too because like it is possible for you to turn pain into purpose
Mhm.
and continue believing in yourself because everything you thought was possible is, and it's happening and it will. It just takes time. That's what I would say to that person. Like, yeah, you're right. Everybody's got their story. Everybody has their pain and the things that influence us from childhood to make us feel like we aren't enough or to make us feel like everything you've worked towards isn't amounting to anything. But if you can center on your North Star and you can just against all, like, just the world will try, that is the test, right? And I do this with my clients. Like, it's easy to perform and to feel good when you're feeling 10 foot tall and bulletproof and everything's going your way. But that's like That's like 2% of life, isn't it? Like this idea that like I'll get to it when life calms down, and I'll get to it, like I'll do it when XYZ is over. Like the real realization is that it's not stopping, and you'll continue to get those curveballs. So you better get moving because it's not going to get easier. And if you can just stay true to yourself, like what you have to offer to the world, and you stay believing that thing, nothing will be more worth it than when you actually see the evidence of it, but you got to earn it. It doesn't come free. But if you keep that component and you really want it, your deep desire is to help change the lives of others, they will be drawn to you for it.
Love that. Love that. And I appreciate you sharing that. Yeah, man. I'm just proud of you, bro. I'm really, really proud of you, man. I love seeing your journey. I look forward to keep seeing you just continue to grow to Robbie 3.0. It's been amazing. And yeah, whoever's watching this, just take action, man, and just do the damn work, man. I wish if there's another way, if you find another way that's more simple from 0 to 10K, please let me know and I'll pay you a lot of money to learn that because I have not found that anything else but offer content conversation. That's it. That's what the magic formula. You can do that even without ads. Some coaches like, I don't have an ad budget. Well, go get your leads. So that's a whole different topic, but amazing. Rob, I appreciate you, my guy. Thank you so much for taking time out of your busy day. I'll link your Instagram in the description as well. That way people can see, connect with you as well, get inspired by your content. And yeah, man, I'm happy for you.
Thanks, brother.